Protecting American jobs with tariffs sounds great until you look closer. The idea? Make foreign goods pricier so we buy American, factories boom and jobs return? But the economy isn't a simple machine, it's a web. Pull one string and the whole thing shakes. Tariffs trigger retaliation. Other countries slap tariffs on our goods, sparking trade wars. Suddenly, American companies face higher costs and shrinking markets. The shield meant to protect workers often ends up hurting them instead. Iconic companies, car makers, motorcycle legends, appliance giants, get caught in the crossfire. Instead of saving jobs, tariffs can backfire, leading to layoffs and offshoring. The cure becomes worse than the disease. Let's see how this played out company by company. Let's start with Ford, one of America's most iconic automakers. When tariffs were placed on steel and aluminum, the intention was to protect American industry and jobs. But for Ford, which depends heavily on these metals to build its vehicles, the impact was the opposite of what was promised. The cost of raw materials shot up dramatically. Ford reported losing over $1 billion just from these tariffs. Instead of expanding and hiring, the company was forced to cut jobs and scale back production, leading to layoffs and uncertainty for thousands of workers. The policy that was supposed to protect American jobs ended up putting them at risk, and in many cases, eliminating them altogether. Harley-Davidson faced a similar fate. When tariffs hit European steel, the European Union struck back, imposing steep tariffs on American motorcycles, Harley's signature export. Suddenly, Harley's bikes became far too expensive for European buyers, threatening a market that was crucial for the company's growth and survival. To keep selling in Europe and stay afloat, Harley-Davidson had to move some of its production overseas. Ironically, the very outcome tariffs were supposed to prevent. Both Ford and Harley-Davidson found themselves caught in a painful paradox. Policies meant to protect American workers ended up forcing these companies to make decisions that hurt those very workers. The shield of protection turned into a boomerang, coming back to hit American industry where it hurt most. Instead of strengthening American manufacturing, these trade policies pushed jobs, investment, and production to other countries. The lesson is clear. Trade wars rarely produce true winners, and the fallout can be widespread and lasting. The real cost is felt by American workers and their families, who pay the price through lost jobs and economic hardship. But Ford and Harley-Davidson aren't alone. Let's look at more examples to see how these policies ripple across the economy. GE, a giant in everything from home appliances to advanced jet engines, has long been a symbol of American innovation and manufacturing strength. But even a powerhouse like GE wasn't immune to the impact of tariffs. When tariffs were imposed on steel and aluminum, the company was hit hard. The prices of these essential raw materials surged almost overnight, affecting every product line that relied on them. As a result, GE's costs jumped by hundreds of millions of dollars, squeezing already tight profit margins and putting thousands of jobs at risk. Factory workers felt the pressure, and layoffs became a real threat. These higher costs didn't just stay within the company. Hospitals ended up paying more for life-saving equipment, and travelers saw ticket prices rise as airlines passed on the extra expenses. Caterpillar, another American icon known for its massive construction equipment, faced a similar challenge. Tariffs on key parts imported from China hit their bottom line. Their supply chain costs soared, making it much harder for U.S. factories to compete with foreign rivals. The price of building a bulldozer or excavator in America went up significantly. The result? Instead of encouraging companies to bring jobs back home, the pressure to move production overseas actually increased as firms searched for ways to cut costs and stay afloat. Tariffs that were meant to revive American industry ended up making it even harder to build things in America, leading to more factory closures and job losses in industrial towns. Instead of helping, these policies made U.S. companies less competitive on the global stage as foreign manufacturers gained an edge. The unintended consequences were massive, rippling through communities and entire industries. Let's take a closer look at how these challenges played out for other legendary American brands and what it meant for their future. Whirlpool, one of America's biggest appliance makers, actually asked the government to impose tariffs on imported washing machines. Their goal was to fight back against a flood of cheap imports that were undercutting their business and threatening American jobs. At first, the plan seemed to work. Whirlpool ramped up production and even hired more workers, bringing hope to communities that had seen factories close. But then, Tariffs on steel and other essential parts raised Whirlpool's manufacturing costs. As a result, prices for all washers, imported and American-made, went up, making it harder for families to afford new appliances. Consumers ended up paying more at the store, and shockingly, each new job created by the tariffs cost over $800,000 in extra expenses. In the end, the so-called win for American manufacturing turned out to be an expensive burden for everyone involved. Tesla, the innovative electric car company building vehicles in the US, relies heavily on a global supply chain, especially for parts sourced from China. When tariffs hit those imported parts, Tesla's costs soared, threatening their ability to compete with rivals both at home and abroad. Their solution? Build a massive new factory in China, allowing them to avoid tariffs and stay competitive in the global market. Ironically, a policy meant to punish China ended up sending American investment, technology, and jobs overseas instead. The pattern repeats itself. Tariffs that are supposed to help American companies often end up hurting them and the workers they're meant to protect. As a result, American innovation and good-paying jobs continue to move overseas, leaving communities behind. The irony couldn't be clearer. Efforts to protect American industry sometimes backfire in unexpected ways. So what's the real lesson here? Maybe it's time to rethink how we support American workers in a global economy. Tariffs sound tough, but the real world is complicated. American companies depend on global supply chains. Cutting one thread can unravel the whole system. The costs hit workers, consumers, and businesses alike. Slogans don't create jobs. Smart, evidence-based policies do. If we want to help American workers, we need to help companies compete globally, not wall them off. Good intentions aren't enough. We need good strategy. Otherwise, we risk exporting the very jobs we're trying to protect. The lesson is clear. Protectionism often backfires. The future of American industry depends on smart policy, not just patriotic slogans. Let's build that future together.